You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Lorraine D'Allesio, CEO and founder of D'Allesio Law Group, tech and entertainment immigration attorney in Los Angeles, California, and an LA Business Journal leader in law, a thought leader and writer. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me today. It's such a pleasure and an honor.
For sure. It's great to have you on. Thanks for being here. You have a lot of interesting things to discuss, so I'm super excited about it. How are things? I know you might not be there right now, but how are things in LA generally? And, I think maybe Beverly Hills you're in?
Yes, correct. Our headquarters is in Beverly Hills.
Nice.
We're pretty active members also of the Chamber of Commerce for Beverly Hills. And it's fitting since we're working with so many people that have, LA as their goal to be
Right.
working in, expanding their opportunities. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. It's got some of the best restaurants in the world within a little walk from the office. So not bad when you're spending, minimum of 12 hours a day in the office.
Oh, that's amazing. I've been out there. Little old me is in central Massachusetts, and I've been to LA once. I'd like to get back out there again. It sounds awesome. So tell us, you're not from the States though. And I think that really leads up to sort of the crux of your story actually after doing some reading about you. So tell us where you're from originally.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm originally from Canada. It's one of Canada's most growing in terms of cultural diversity centers, which is a place called Mississauga. A lot of people don't even know about it, but it happens to be the most culturally diverse city in Canada.
Right.
Growing up with and around, first generation immigrants really filled me with a sense of empathy and compassion for the immigrant journey. Obviously, I also come from descendants of immigrants as well, so that also further to compounded it. And even when I had begun modeling, so I started in the fashion business in Toronto. I would say that still, that immigrant journey was always present in my mind and inspired me.
Right.
I was traveling internationally as well for work, sort of an appreciation going through borders, dealing with the guy with the badge and the gun,
Right.
getting visas, opening up markets. That was always something that was apparent to me, that was clear to me. So, and, much of my work, fashion wise, was done internationally. And I would say having experienced firsthand knowledge of that, daunting nature of working in a foreign country and, enduring that, that process of securing a work permit. And then also, timing of that pricing, you have to go through it all, even if you're in the entertainment business and, a talent yourself. So, and I think it brings a greater appreciation when you're actually an advocate as well, because you've been through it. So, for your, what
So,
has.
so I think that's incredible, actually. When I have a guest on the show, everybody's got a unique story, but when you can really match up, something that you've done in your lifetime, like you coming over to the States from Mississauga and knowing the process, seeing the process, building that empathy that you said that, in where you're from, and now you're actually helping people do the same thing that sort of you went through. And so tell us how you made your way to Los Angeles.
Right. So I started off modeling, doing more commercial shoots out of LA. And then when it came to getting my law degree, out of Toronto. I just felt that I would be better suited at being able to acquire a law degree that I could take international, that I could actually practice anywhere in the world. And if I were to help people that were going A to Z and navigating that process, that it would make more sense for me to, get a US law degree. So and bar license. So I actually shift my focus from doing, a master's and that graduate work,
Sure.
uh, my master's, but then actually did my law schooling and bar out of California. So
Okay.
that's
Right.
how it started. I knew about LA because obviously I'd worked there, and I just felt that most of my colleagues and my friends would be, reaching out to me and wanting help with their legal work as they try to go and work in LA. So I might as well be based in
Yeah.
LA and more accessible to them. So that's how that all began and why I decided to go to Southwestern Law School, which
Right.
is law school with the most judges in California have graduated from there.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I
Okay.
wanted to do a really good internship. I didn't really know um, exactly where I might land, but I knew I wanted to be an advocate. So we work heavily on the immigration side, but we also do business law, transactional contracts, which I think is also important for an artist to understand your intellectual property,
Yes.
understand, also how to protect your interests in a contract and negotiation. So I wanted to, not only be helping with borders, but also, that side of your work as well.
Did you have a moment where you said to yourself, okay, like it sounded like you made the pivot from like master's programs to law school, but did you have a moment where you were like, I want to go to law school, like I want to be a lawyer?
So I I did. I there was a I was always interested in being an advocate, even when I was modeling and through my younger years. I was always passionate by people's rights and how we protect people's rights. And at first, I thought it would be great to approach it from a policy standpoint within government. And I worked in government. I worked in the Canadian government for nearly 4 years. But what I realized was I was a lot better at advocating than throwing the, if I want to say, sort of throwing
Okay.
the ball. And I truly am very, um, you know, I, I I admire very much all the work that the ministries do. I was just wanting to um, become more of, kind of on the ground, more scrappy attorney,
Yeah, there you I like that.
helping
I like that.
people, yeah, helping think outside the box and creative ways to help people with their problems. And I worked on a program called the Local Health Integrated Networks out of Ontario, Canada, for a while, and there were some issues with the program. So I think, who knows, all things happens for a reason. So it only further motivated me to get on the other side of the negotiating table and be more scrappy with my representation. So that's what happened there. Yeah.
So you decided, since you said I'm going to do like immigration entertainment, that you like it's mostly immigration entertainment, right? So like entertainers who come over, they have a special skill. You help them. Is that correct?
I say, entertainment as well as tech, as well as
Yeah.
music,
Right.
so sports, and even business, just business in general. Those that are, bridging borders with expanding companies and mergers and acquisitions. I'm working with all them too as this law firm grows. So yeah.
Because your firm is not only in LA, you have a couple, like maybe are they satellite offices, and you have one in, is it Canada?
Yes, we have a small office in Toronto, and another one that we use out of Vancouver. But our headquarters is Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. So yeah.
Nice. So Loren, I have to think that entertainment law in LA is like pretty competitive. What
Yeah.
advice would you give someone who's trying to get into entertainment law?
Yeah, it is really competitive. I would say that draw upon your existing network. especially if you hopefully have been working in the business before, it's not about how many clients you have. I think it's about doing well on, to start, for me, it was 6 cases, just doing well
Okay.
on 6 cases. And then those people start chatting with others about, some record time that you've been able to put some paperwork together, or something unique that you've been able to
Gotcha.
offer. For me, it's always been outside the box representation and then efficiency. So, and then, things grow quite quickly from there. And I'd say, get active, start doing, or speaking events, or publish articles, start getting out there in terms of, your content creation. And that's a very recent word, contract creation, but
Yeah.
I think that it's still, people have been doing that for a lot longer than just with social media. I think that getting your name out there, and that's something I've always done. So lots of traveling and tapping into interest groups that have these issues, have these problems that you can connect with. Yeah.
I like that. So do you do just, I'm just curious, like, do you do any entertainment aside from the immigration, or is it always immigration and entertainment? I just want to be clear.
Um, so we do
Okay.
entertainment law as well. Yeah,
Oh,
production,
good.
mostly props and entertainment and copyright and trademarks. So
Gotcha.
IP.
Okay. So what can you tell us a little bit about like who your clients are, like, and what you're doing for them?
Sure. So we have represented the world market modeling agencies. From Next Models, DT Models, uh, Premier. So a lot of modeling agencies out of LA and internationally, as well as many of the top production companies. We work with other talent management companies, like, for example, in film television. The characters would be one of them, for example. And we, we've also worked extensively with the Food Network.
Yep.
Um, and on the tech side, Virgin Hyperloop One, we've worked extensively with them. We have, we've even worked Westfield shopping malls. Goodness, what other ones can I?
No, that's okay. That's plenty. I know you,
And
there's a
we've
list. I
done
mean, you do good
sports.
work. You work for some really good,
Yeah,
brand. Like, it's awesome. Like, I saw the list.
yeah.
I didn't write any of them down. So like, tell us the biggest challenge, like, facing lawyers, today. And like, how is your firm, uh, D'Allesio Law Group, really adopted to it? Say,
How adapted to, yeah. So I'd say that the it's all about perfecting the team and the process of the team. In law, you're making your team a creative analytical team, and one that can work with each other in a very smooth way to service the client. Um, so this is very different than a tech company, which I think a lot of the time try to minimize the amount of like human ingenuity, but sometimes. But for law, this is something that we're celebrating and promoting. I would say that what I've learned is in growing a team of now nearly 58 people now.
wow, congratulations. That's incredible.
Yeah, and we're
Lorraine has
international.
a team of 58 people at her firm that are going to help you. That's incredible.
Yeah. And that that it's not just about creating like one big block of people and then a leader. It's about creating movement within the organization for mobility and teams within the greater team, so that this isn't like a top down dictatorship or Machiavellian approach. That's never been my
Okay.
approach. I want to hear um, great ideas and contribution
Yeah.
and input from all layers, and for people to have the opportunity to manage and teach even within the organization that aren't the
Sure.
most senior, but those that are performing well, and to reward that. So and for me, I have a very heavy female dominant team,
Yes.
and I'm very proud of that. And it's, I would say that um it hasn't just been like we just want to hire women. That's not it. We have some extremely incredible males that work with us as
Yeah.
well, performers. But I think what has inspired and attracted so many talented women to apply to work with us has been the recognition that, wow, there is not the way the structure is that this can actually work for women who are also managing families and
Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah, and
It's a
who
beautiful.
yeah, managing families, and that you can be doing this work in a way that that even the location has flexibility, and that there's a very inspiring structure to help to promote growth and mobility within the organization. So and that is gender neutral. Like it's not
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
I think many law firms, I think there's a lot of anxiety that women have about working in a firm that is very male heavy, because they worry if their voice going to be heard and will it be respected. So, so I'm very proud of that. And we're shameless about our families, and it's great.
Love
Like
it.
that
Great.
way. Yeah.
So what advice would you have for some young women out there? We're trying to make it professionally. Maybe they have a family and it's so difficult, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but employers like you, like how you sound, like you kind of adjust and like your work culture, make it sort of like a nice way to continue to be a professional, right? So do you have any advice for young women out there?
Yeah, I would say that getting a mentor, that you don't necessarily have to go and work for someone who is a lot more experienced or older than you. I think that it is more strategic to get a mentor who may almost tutor you, and you may even pay them at some time for that counsel as you
Sure.
are developing your career direction and your focus. You can learn so much that way and save yourself from and I want to say save yourself, but free yourself in
Yeah.
terms of your options, because you are a lot more knowledgeable about what those options could actually look like. Whereas if you approach it from like a really traditional, what we're taught in school type thing of what your options are upon graduation, it's join a big firm, work there for a couple years, learn the ropes, blah, 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 and then da, da, da. Well, there are other ways to do it so that it can help you to learn to be an entrepreneur yourself, or to help you to learn how to be an executive or one of the top tops in in the company. We aren't born to be leaders.
Yeah.
We're not. Most of
Yeah.
us, 99.9% of us are not born
Right.
leaders. We need to be taught. We're like a fresh board that is, that's going to be painted. So I just like, I would say that I think one of the things that I'm so proud of that we've done is to create leaders within our greater team, and provide coaching and instruction and help, so that so that so it helps us with our retention of our team and our maintenance and stability and the inspiration. Like we don't have to be loud and proud about it, because it's known within our organization that it's a healthy environment to be in and to recognize everyone's work. So,
Right.
and it's not perfect. It's a work in progress always. But I think for young aspiring lawyers, I would say like you don't have to subscribe to the traditional model, and I think it's better not to. So I think mentorship and even like a strategic hire can help you. I mean, some people want to work in a big law firm setting, and that's great too. But for me, I only really did that for a very short period of time, and then discovered that it really muted my voice and it intimidated me almost. So like I wasn't able to
Interesting. Yeah.
and be the passionate person I am and really serve client needs,
Right.
because it felt so heavy, and there was all this politics
Yeah.
everywhere.
Right.
And I couldn't express, I couldn't help, I couldn't, so I think, if to each is their own, but I think that helps a lot to, let you spread your wings.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, you hit the nail on the head because I think mentorship is so important. Because I often say we're unlike the medical profession where they have like all this practical kind of work they get to do, like when they're doing their rounds, they're in medical school, but we need more attorneys to step up and like take on a law student, or a law student that like follow somebody that they want to be like, right? Like a lawyer they want to be like, and have a mentor. So I think that for me, like, hits it on the head, like being able to have a connection with somebody like that. So how's D'Alesio Law Group? How are you differentiating yourself in the market there in LA and elsewhere with immigration, entertainment, and tech law?
Yeah, I mean, I think the unique combination of the immigration and the business law is a reason why a lot of people come to us. I think that really sets us apart is helping those that are extraordinary, whether that's in a company set within a company setting or an individual, really transcend those borders. And or if they, and even also the kind of introduction, like we go beyond just servicing you with the legal approach. We also think about your holistic needs
I like it.
and like make lots of referrals and even business introductions where we help feel like you could absolutely go ahead and expand that branch into Mexico. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how, and I'll tell you that you likely would quadruple your revenues, of these real estate, like look at these real estate girls. This is just, we're not business brokers, but we see a lot because we process a lot of cases. So we have, it's like going to a great sushi restaurant. You don't want to go to a sushi restaurant that has almost no foot traffic and the fish could potentially be a little old or like something like that. You want to go
Yeah.
where it's fresh and it's like vibrant, lots of colors and things happening, and that's us. So it's we want to know what's ahead of the curve, what's happening,
That's awesome.
sports, business law, fashion, entertainment. It is not. I mean, I went to a. So I've been honored with with an article in Maxim magazine, and I was invited to one of their events, which I thought I was. We did an interview on the red carpet and all that. And what was so awesome is I very rarely have time to go to these kind of like social events in LA. But when I went, I ran into so many of my clients and so
Awesome.
many of my clients that then I could make other introductions to.
Right.
We're all in the top, 3 to 10% of what they're doing. And it just helps so much that maybe some of them know each other,
Yeah.
and here I am like making introductions and
I
also
love that. I have to say, like, you and I have that in common. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. Like, that's what I'm trying to do here at Lawyer Stories. Like, I'm connecting everybody with everybody. Like, so that's, and by the way, like, not that you need, our little services, but if you ever see somebody that, you want to connect with on ours, I'd be happy to make the warm introduction. So, um, I love doing that. That's like the crux of like what, we eventually want to do on our Lawyer Stories Connect platform. So I really think that that's awesome. And I respect that you do that when you go out.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, thank you. No, it's like in me and I get so excited about it. I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's me. This is the key person to do. Or if
Right.
you're having an issue, it, and people love to be talking about being at the top. We're at the top. We're at the but what they often don't talk about is all the kind of challenges that happen either maintaining yourself at the top or, when you were down low or when you were at the top and then you fell. And that's a thing that CEOs and executives need to be able to talk about with each other in like a safe place type
Right.
thing. So I'm a part of this organization called Young Presidents Organization, which I think is fabulous, where we're able to share this stuff. But if you're not doing in that kind of setting, then making these kinds of introductions allows you to go, oh wow, I had that challenge or I had that this or wow, I didn't know how to deal with that new tax law or the kind of things that like are just real.
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
it's just real.
Yeah.
And it can make all the difference in the world to how you do that year or how you do that quarter to just get that bit of information or make that connection. And we all have such limited time that we don't have time to waste. So I think
Right.
it's that I really appreciate and am privileged to have my clients' trust. And I think that many of them do that because they know I respect the time and I'm able to make these connections that ultimately help most of them. So it's I think it's that holistic approach. It's not just about
I
that
love that. I
that
love
I
that.
that immigration, but it's about the greater journey that we all here for.
And
So yeah.
yeah, and I think that says a lot about you too, like wanting to be able to connect people because there are people out there who don't want people to know other people or they think it's too competitive or they're like, I can't have you meet this person, like blah, blah, blah. Like when you're in the middle of that, like I think that's amazing. So keep going. That's really cool. So congrats on like making that part of what you do as like a holistic approach. I love that.
You. Thank you. I'm and my team. We have the same vision there, so it's really cool that we all appreciate that because it's hard to have a common ground always and maintain that. It's. I mean, it just is. We're unique people.
Yeah, no, totally. So this is sort of like shifting gears a little, but more like so I'm gonna ask you about Russian people, right? So there a lot of them are like leaving the country and seeking asylum. Like, are you playing a role in that? And like, are you, I sort of read something and somebody told me about your firm doing some things there. So I was curious if you could like fill us in about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's a big war right now in East Central Europe. We know that the
Yeah.
Ukraine war has been going on now for, I think it's a year now. And many, as we see Russia continue to militarize and go through mobilizations during the war, sorry, the winter, my apologies, during the winter, it gets even scarier. So how much longer do we feel this is going to go on? And there's so much people movement. The borders at Kazakhstan are chaos. I mean, there's just a lot of people going, where the heck do we go now? And what do we do that don't support the war? And there are many. I just happen to work with a lot of incredibly talented people from Russia and also the Ukraine over the years, incredible people in all kinds of industries. And many of them have been in shock and do not agree politically with what's going on. Now, the reality is that helping those that would like to choose the U.S. to work and live in, potentially even permanently, with us all this going on from that region, um, it may not be the best set of circumstances for them to pursue asylum, for them to declare political asylum and try to enter the United States this way. And there's a
Right.
whole host of reasons why. But one of the biggest reasons is the incredible backlog that we currently have with our asylum cases. And, I mean, before them, there was the Haitians and the Venezuelans, and they're still there. And many of these folks are living right at the border under highway underpasses. I mean,
Yeah.
just for years of families are often split up. One family member could be in detention for an unknown period of time. They will eventually see a judge. They will eventually be able to present their case, but there's no guarantees, obviously, if they will be accepted or if they will be, you know, um, be, get approved. And political asylum, generally speaking, is extremely hard to get approved. A lot of attorneys make their strategy around buying people time, and that's fair too. Their long-term goal may not to be in the United States for forever, but during all this turmoil, they want to stay in the US. So the attorney will try to simply buy them time. But for some, that is quite jarring to hear that they may not even have the option to stay. That at any time they could actually be denied and then deported
Wow.
without ability to come back with a bar to the United States. And many fleeing migrants do not know that. And they get into this trap where they apply for asylum, they start doing all these filings. And some of these cases, I mean, they can amount to over $100,000 in filings.
Wow.
So that, yeah,
That's crazy.
yep, yep. And not to say that you shouldn't apply for asylum. It's just you need to know what you're getting into. And not all the cases go, but many of them last for 4, 5, 6 years. It's not a fast process, most of them. So I love to approach this more from the business side. And I'm also been, really blessed when I'm studying people's resumes and I'm studying what they're bringing forward. I can see that many of the clients that have come to me actually are intellectuals, hold fascinating careers that I can really work with in terms of helping them to look at other golden passports that they could obtain that will even help to further the amount of visa options that will bring them into the United States. Right now, the Russian passport is one of the most limited passports that you can have in the world. So that makes it really hard when you're trying to make applications. So one of the first things I do is look through resumes to see what other things we might be able to qualify them for so
Okay.
that we can widen out their options. And so there's been a few citizenships that I've looked at, and for some they need them on an expedited basis, but based on their profession and their work, sometimes we're able to do that,
Wow.
which is an absolute game changer.
Okay.
And then, once we do that, then we can look at other things, for example, like the North American Free Trade Agreement, like E2 treaty visas that
Wow.
allow them to start businesses in the United States without even having like a sponsor or without even having some other business partner that's in the United States, or even a business that existed back at home that they're then expanding into the United States.
Hmm.
So that's the approach that I've been having on these cases, and it's been an absolute deal changer,
Wow.
helping people come in within in 4 to 5 months, as opposed to waiting years and years and years trying to figure out how to navigate all this, and taking them out of the limbo. So every case has to be looked at, one by one. But I just, for me, I've worked with such incredible, doctors from Russia and Ukraine, and
Okay.
like intellectuals and entertainment people and tech people, and I'm just like, these are interesting cases that
Yeah, totally.
that you can do so much more with.
I'm
So
actually
let
like curious, like what kind of like when they submit an application, like somebody from Russia or whatever, like what is like the special thing that they're doing that's able to sort of like let them bypass like the line, I guess, to get in to where they're going. Like I know that there's like a probably multiple things, but is there anything that you can
so
share
for
with us?
Yeah, the Ukrainians, it's different. Developed like a specific program for them,
Okay.
approval status that will help them come in. But again, I've also found this to be quite limiting in how it helps people. So what I've been doing a lot of is helping them look at other passports that can be expedited within a short period of time that then expands the amount of visa options that they have. For
Okay.
example, Mexico, or under judicial recognition, or Malta, or Grenada, or other countries where we can, or Paraguay, other countries where we can really further the amount of options, and then be able to process things even at the consular level, or even at the border, to get around legally these long, 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 long wait times. So that, I hope, helps to answer that question.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. You obviously I can hear the passion in your voice and like I know
Uh,
like you're doing
I just,
great work.
I just like, in life, you should always be first class. Like, you should always treat
Love it.
yourself as a first class member, and you should always ask to be. You should make at least the best argument forward to not be treated like lower level. Like, why be treated like you shouldn't? You should go for the best plan possible,
I love
not the one that is gonna have all these what ifs and all these. It's like, I think if you can really be strategic, you can save yourself time and lots of headache. And I hate headaches
Are you talking about like an immigration law or just like in general?
in
Like
general. In general.
I would love to hear more about that sometime. You don't have
Why
to
why
share about it
stop with
now.
it? Why are we suffering? This Just stop suffering. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like we almost self-inflict that suffering. Like, it's like, get out of your head, get out of your comfort zone, think bigger, and raise your expectations of yourself. And then you won't. You just won't, because you won't settle. So that's what I did feel very passionately about, not only immigration, but and for my clients in their businesses as well. And I feel like a lot of lawyers think that the way to motivate their clients is through fear. And I like to motivate my clients, yes, through advising them of the law, advising them the available options, keeping them well informed, but also getting them excited about things that are
It's
opportunities.
interesting. That's
That
interesting.
they can, yes, okay, there's the risks and all that, it isn't, but don't they want to change their circumstance? Like, I mean, for the better. And
That's
so,
it. You know, that's I
yeah,
think that's interesting because I think some lawyers sort of say like, "This is so difficult. This is so difficult," because they want to when and they might know it's not as difficult as they make it seem because they want to show that they're really adding value and doing something. But I think your approach in saying like, "Get excited, like this is going to be awesome," like, "Yeah, there's a little risk, don't worry about it." I think I like that approach better.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's these things, but this is why the pros are going to probably likely so outweigh any of like this crap you've been dealing with for the last 20 years,
Yeah.
or 5. So the 3 years of your startup, or sorry, your year of your first year startup, it's like, just stop the cycle, like just stop it. So it's, yeah, I have a business coach that, she's a
Nice.
very, very strong woman, actually Russian Armenian. And
Nice.
she, the first thing she did was kind of like, give me a bit of a lecture about, who I am. Like, understand who you are, understand what your power is. And especially, I just think, with the like, so, oh, the economy, oh, this, well, maybe those are just excuses, because, here we are. Time is everything. So let's go.
Wow, I love that. So Loren, like what does it mean to you to be named a 2017 leader in law by the LA Business Journal and a recipient of the 2018 Enterprising Woman Award? Congratulations, by the way. That's incredible. And like, what do those accolades mean to you?
My goodness, such an incredible honor, not just by my own municipality, but then by America and by women leaders across the entire nation. I just feel like we're breaking ceilings with that, and I'm just so honored to be a part of that and to help to contribute to a bigger movement. Where, just kind of deep where we're in this so many, I think, people are just feeling like, even as a child or growing up, you're just sort of programmed in a way to feel like, well, that might not be attainable, or that or this. So I think maybe I just feel so honored to be, maybe a role model to others with these awards, that you can absolutely go for it. You can receive that recognition in your discipline for law as a woman, and owning her own business, that didn't spend all those years in those big law firms. Like, if you look at the
Yeah.
other leaders of law for Business Journal, many of those are from
Huge.
massive law firms,
Huge.
massive law firms. And you know what? It's like, okay, that's great. It has a time and a place in it, or whatever. Maybe that person just wants to spend the whole career there, and that's fabulous. But you don't have to go by that mold. And I think it's, what, helps you make that impact on society, or even upon just the team of which you worked with for the last 15 years, that to be able to stick it out as a business owner for that long, and, continue to inspire, push forward, and, affect positive change for your clients, and then, in a sense, society, I think is like, just like, I'm extremely, happy, but I'm also hungry. I'm also hungry to do better. And I'm excited, for, what comes out of this post-pandemic, kind of economic outlook that we now have as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for sure. So I saw a few of your videos where you're doing some public speaking and you're like just a complete professional up there talking to crowds and like just speaking. And this is just some advice. Like I'm really curious about this too. Like, do you have any advice or what I should phrase it like this? What advice would you give for somebody who needs to improve their public speaking?
Hands down, to hire coach, a public speaking
Coach.
coach. For me, I just happen to have on my business development team, the most outstanding, what we call dragons, which is actually a non-attorney but an actress. And I've
Oh,
hired
nice. I like that.
there's
That's
a lot
cool.
of actresses on my sales and business development side,
Oh,
because
nice.
I believe that that I also excelled greatly in drama and did quite a bit of work within theater, and I just think that there is a connection that is made on a human level that many people that have been book smart and gone through all that blah 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 may have never experienced or had that, developed that skill set. So I spent quite a bit of time with a woman by the name of Renee Percy, and she still to till this day is a dear friend of mine, and pulled me aside, like even before I was about to give my speech for the Century City Lawyer of the Year award, pulled me aside and said, that speech that you're currently holding the script for, just throw away the script, throw it away right now. You're not going
Wow.
to, you're not going to read it. You're not going to do that. I don't want you to do that. And she spent the next 17 minutes. I know, because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be like, and she's like, no, no, no. You're going to just get the points. And I want you to go off the points, but speak from your heart. And it ended up being
Oh,
the most impactful speech of the whole night, because I believed in the speech, and it wasn't something memorized. It was something that was from the heart and part of me to a certain extent. I understood it. I understood what I was saying, and I believed in it. And so, so I think that and I think also storytelling. A lot of the public speaking, you're telling a story. You're telling a
right.
story. People want to hear a story. They want a narrative. They don't want to just listen to someone's opinions on something. They want to hear how you've won or lost, got up, whatever it is. And she taught me that too. So
That's awesome. That's a great story. Like I love that you have that experience. So like, how can you become? Like, you're
yeah, I'm sorry, but can I ask something? I'm a little worried. I think can I just fix the my cord on my computer? I'm having a technical issue.
yes,
Mind
yes.
if I get
Go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. 1 second. I'm just going
Go ahead,
to. I'm
please.
so sorry to break up anything.
Oh wait, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was not properly connecting there, and I was worried we were
No,
going to lose.
that's awesome. Like I just we're almost done anyway. I have a couple of questions that I really want to ask. So you're a thought leader. Like you have it in your LinkedIn bio. I checked that out and like thought leader. Like how does somebody become, can you tell us a little bit about that? Like how does somebody become a thought leader?
Yeah, I think it's coming out of not only your experiences, but your toolbox of skill set, expertise, and outside of the box and creative ways of work thinking, relationships as well, that that change the possibilities of that area of law or that discipline, that you have uh, that you are pursuing and have developed a practice that creates opportunities and options for your clients that are not the common goal. And I think that makes you a thought leader because you had the guts to do it. And number one, you might have taken some risks yourself, but at the same time, like, I mean, obviously in law and lawyer, you don't want to know about lawyers taking risks, but you kind of have to do the research and be informed and have the relationships to know how to set everything up properly so that you can offer those other opportunities and options for your clients.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's really boring, number one. And number two, I like, what are you actually doing for them other than billing them for your time and billing them for a bunch of problems? By the way, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing for you. And you're going to have to pay this much, this for this and this for this, because we're going to send you on this little roadway where you're going to like hit this and hit that. And it's like, well, just find the routes that get them from A to D or A to C or whatever it is, in that most efficient way. They'll love you more for it. I mean, obviously you have to be able to do it, but that things I'm looking for possibilities, I would say possibilities. And I think that that is thought leader. That is break out of the mold, rise above and go for it, So I think that's maybe what I'm referring to there.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So,
I'd say, that goes on the consular level for immigration, borders, how to navigate those. I'd say that goes to um, new ways of setting up your business in a way that is more business friendly. We don't do tax, but we also know it has very positive impacts for tax purposes as well. And I would just say ways like if you're, for example, going to be launching, a production and, um, is very limited budget or whatnot, ways to set up the contracts and like that package in a way that, that, uh, uh, that makes it very efficient to get the legal done, and helps your production, but at the same time, stays within budget. So there's all kinds of, things I would say about the practice that is a leader in the field, that has been a leader in the field. So other people are not doing.
oh,
um,
okay.
you know, yeah. So
Yes. So Loren, like what inspires you every day to keep going and doing the best that you can for your clients? Is there something like what about your work do you
my
love?
why are going to be my babies. I have children.
Love it.
I have children. And they're I have I have daughters, and they are incredibly inspiring. And uh, like they're tough girls. They're tough
How
girls.
old?
So I have stepchildren. Um, so there's like four daughters in total,
Nice.
and they're ranging age from 7 to 27.
Wow. Okay. Good.
Uh, um, and they are uh, they're scrappy. They're
Yeah.
tough. They operate together. They support each other. And we're kind of like a clan
That's
in our
awesome.
movement.
That's the way it should be. That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think that's probably my why.
So you're doing congratulations on the success you've built for yourself and building a firm and a culture. And I think it's incredible. Is there anything else that we left out that you'd like to either give advice or like you'd like to say to the lawyer stories?
Goodness. I'd say, it's such a true honor to even be considered to tell my story here.
Oh,
And I
please. Yeah.
take this highly and thank you, Ben, for thinking of me. It's just like, what an incredible moment. I'm blessed to be a lawyer. I'm blessed to be an advocate. And I think if what our job, what are we as lawyers? Well, we're advocates. To me, we're advocates, and our job has never been more important, I would say, in probably the history of the world than right now. And I mean, the way that governments have been operating, the way that militaries have been operating around the world, um, lawyers break. They break barriers. They helped create laws. We're here to really, I mean, I don't want to sound this utopian thing, but really just make society better. And I think that we need to really link arms and stick tightly together with our shared stories and our um and stop being so gosh darn like know it all. I know we like lawyers love to do that, but in the sense like we need to learn from each other. And with I think it was Tony Blair who talked about he addressed one of the last World Trade forums that was hosted in LA. And he said, listen, uh, he talks about lawyers too, as business owners as well. And, we do see that, there's a very strong push from the East into the West, and it's coming hard. So I think, you know, being very tough with our Western ways of doing business, I think is also very important. And that sort of like democratic view, I really believe in. And that, advocacy as well, I think plays such an important part in that. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and spending time. I know you're super busy with clients and sharing your story and giving us advice and talking to us about uh, what you do. So thank you and stay there. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.